Hi there, it's Phi Vandel coming to you from the great state of Missouri. Today we're going to talk about pickups. I'm going to be swapping the pickups out in my 1998 American Deluxe Telecaster. This guitar has had a lot of modifications done to it over the years. It's had 7 different necks. This is lucky number 7. It's off of a Ventura Telecaster. It has really great soft V, mid-50s feel to it. I've had a bone nut put in it. It's been plecked. This guitar also, originally in 98, they came with 3 pickups. Only 1 year they did that. That was in 1998. So it's got a middle pickup. It originally had a toggle switch here. That's gone. I pulled it out. It was a little phase switch. It's now got an Emerson wiring harness. It's just a Nashville five-way. To get that Strat type sound, here's the middle pickup. And the neck middle. So it's got a really great middle pickup. This guitar also has the Glazer benders in it. I had Joe Glazer install these for me in probably 1999. It's got a B bender and a G bender. So what it is it's got a down B. And if I push out, there's a little leather strap here that hooks to me, and that's the G. It's that simple. And what's amazing about these benders is the back of the guitar is not all routed out. There is the G pull here. This pulls straight out, and the B bends up, and that turns on the B bender, actuates it. We also have a couple of fine tuners here, so you tune the string open, you bend the string, and then you tune the bent note, just like a steel guitar. They replaced the saddles here with steel guitar poles, and on the butt of the guitar, I don't know if you can see it down there, but there's a little tension, like an Allen wrench, and that's to adjust a spring that's inside of there for the B bender. The G bender simply uses the string itself as your tension. So if you use a heavier string, it's going to have more tension. If you use a lighter string, less. The B string, certainly the string contributes as well, but you can offset some of that with the spring tension so that you're not just going when you bounce around on stage. With this one, I got it set where I can bounce around and it doesn't really do anything. So let's get into the pickups to this guitar are Vintage Noiseless pickups. Now, Vintage Noiseless pickups are enamel-coated magnets on these. They got flush pull pieces, so there's no raised pull pieces at all on this bridge, flat. They have Alnico 2 magnets in the bridge and the neck. These are designed to have a warmer attack and less mid-range. And they're designed to also sound similar to a 60s Tele pickup without any hum. The neck, according to Fender specs, is ohmed at 12K and the bridge at 13K. Now let me explain why that's a problem. When I'm sitting here playing by myself, so it sounds really good. It's warm. It's kind of got that nice low mid push. It fills out the room with sound. In the neck, it sounds beautiful. It's got a thing, you know. Where that becomes a problem is when you put this guitar on stage with other musicians. So what happens is, in a mix, it's important that each thing in a mix has its own voice. And when you have all this beautiful warm low end and this nice crystal top end, and you kind of got a little scoop mid-range going on, what happens is you get on stage and the bass and the kick drum, or if there's a left hand on a piano, the low end of your guitar just fights that stuff. You don't hear it anymore. It becomes muddy. And on the top end, because now you have no mids and your lows are kind of lost, the top end starts to sound shrill. And so what happens a lot of times is one of two things. Your amp starts to sound shrill to you, so you turn some highs down. Now it's even muddier than it was before, and it starts to counteract. So ultimately what happens is you turn up. And so you turn up trying to hear yourself, and what happens is you're not actually fixing the problem by turning up. The problem is that your guitar's voice isn't unique enough to pop out of the mix. The problem is that you're just loud. You're louder than everybody else. That's how you're being heard, is you're louder than everybody. That's not a good thing. No matter how good of a player you are, that's not a good thing. The purpose of music, especially if you're playing in a band environment, is this intertwining of various instruments and various musicians at the same time. They're collectively making music. And music is a collective thing. I'm not saying you can't do a solo guitar thing, but I'm saying that in a band environment, it's collective. And so to get that voice out of a guitar, it requires a mid-range push that is often not there on some of these type of pickups like these that are designed to be warmer and fuller sounding. And so I went on a search trying to figure out which ones I was going to get. And I started listening to everything that I could get. And for the longest time, in my news feed, every time I would log into the internet, whether it be Facebook or YouTube or anywhere else, I'd hear this. And it was Brad Paisley demoing up these Seymour Duncan La Brea pickups. And I would watch that video every time it played. I was a sucker for it. YouTube had me figured out. They knew that I'd been to Seymour Duncan's website. They knew that I'd watched the entire video, and they knew that I'd sat and watched it probably 100 times in ads that they were posting all over the internet. And so what is really, really cool about this is that my wife is observant enough and kind enough that she ordered me these pickups for Christmas. And so what makes these pickups unique over the pickups that I currently have on my guitar, the D and the G string are slightly raised. That's going to keep them from getting lost as much, which that's kind of the meat and the potatoes a lot of times of the guitar. It has the old cloth pushback wire. It has the classic gray forward and flat work. It's going to have a more open, mid-focused sound because of that. It does have in the neck, it's a 7.55K, and the bridge is 7.44K. So they're lower output, which is going to give it a little more open sound and a little less pushed sound. They do have an Alnico 2 magnet in the neck, which is similar to what's in here now. It's just less output. So the neck is still going to sound warm and creamy. It'll sound probably pretty similar to what's here right now. But the bridge has an Alnico 4, which is going to be more mid-focused. It's going to have a tighter low end, so it's not going to be so big and woolly at times. A little tighter low end, a little more mid-focus, and the top end is going to have presence without the sharp attack. There's going to be some more smoothness to the pickup. So I'm really excited to put these in today. I'm going to run through a couple of samples of the way it sounds right now. I'll break, I'll come back with the Seymour Duncan, Brad Paisley, La Brea pickups in this guitar, and we will just see for ourselves what we're dealing with. Again, 98 American Deluxe Telecaster, running through my Kemper just as like a clean boost profile, like a Morning Glory type just to add a little character and some spring reverb into a 68 Deluxe reissue. Here is the bridge pickup. Let me hook up my G. It's got just that nice warm low, and it's got kind of an upper mid bite, but it doesn't really have that middle of the. See, that's the G string. Hear how the G string's doing that, but in comparison to the, it's kind of getting lost a little bit. So that's where those raised pull pieces will correct a lot of that. So I'm really excited about that. So again, here's the bridge. Here's the neck. Some chords. So anyway, that's the guitar. Let's see what they sound like.
Your smell and taste, you're that can of soda pop that gets me through the day. And you're the one thing I can't give up on, even when you're bad for me. You're my caffeine, you're my caffeine. You're that first cigarette in the morning when I wake. You're that calmness that I feel with every drag I take. And you're the one thing I can't give up on, even when you're bad for me. You're my nicotine. You're my nicotine, yeah. And I've tried and tried and tried and tried to quit, but I finally realized that I can't do it. Unless you really wanna stop, well, it's just a waste of time. You're just another bad habit of mine.
And here we are, just like that. I have now changed the pickups out. These are now the Brad, Paisley, Seymour, Duncan, Brea pickups in the guitar. I did get a situation where my middle pickup was out of phase with the others, but luckily it was out of phase on both directions, so I was able to just swap the wires on the middle pickup, and it straightened that right out. Went ahead and pulled the neck and tightened my truss rod just a little bit because my action had came up a little bit on it, and polished the frets while I was in there. Got everything resoldered back together, cleaned the bridge up while I had it completely apart, and I think it's pretty much done. Got the intonation set back on it, got the pickup heights. I'm pretty sure I got those set where I want them. Basically, I set this treble side of the pickup on the neck. I set it as high as I can and still leave a little bit of room in case I rest my hand on it where I'm not touching the top of the pickup cover. And then I play it through Pro Tools, and I watch the level, and I drop the bass side until it's pretty close. I like it a little bit above, but I want it fairly balanced. And then I take the bridge pickup and I set it roughly about the same as the neck. Some guys dump them a little less, but I know my playing style, and I kind of know that it's okay if it's about the same as the neck. And then I do the same thing on the bass side. I drop it back to where it's not overbearing, and then I did the same thing in the middle. Now the middle pickup, if you remember from my sheet earlier, the Vintage Noiseless pickups have a lot more output, and so I had to really dump this one down quite a bit to be able to get it balanced out, to get that stratty sound. And it sounds good, you know. So here is the bridge now that we've got it changed out. Chords. Some of the, I think I did a few lead things earlier. Here is the neck pickup. I think I did a major scale. impressions of it is that I like them. There's definitely more of a mid-push, a low-mid, kind of a grunt to it that certainly gives it more of its own voice. I don't think the low end is as woofy as it was before. I think it was still sounded pretty good before, but I feel like the low end definitely got tighter as I play it. And I can definitely tell there's raised pull pieces on the D and G string. Those strings are now, they're not jumping out at me in a bad way. They're jumping out at me in a good way. Like I'm finally hearing them as I'm playing. They're not fighting for space. Like I was talking about earlier, in a band mix, when you have all these things going on, the guitar is a mid-range instrument. And so when you have the bass going and you have a lot of high-end stuff going, cymbals and right-hand piano or fiddle or things like that, there's really no room for a guitar player in those spectrums. Now there's some of your sounds will certainly get there, but they're going to cause more havoc to the others probably than they're going to do you good. So knowing that, we have to embrace the frequencies that we have that do allow us to pop out of a mix. And I feel like that brought those mids back to this guitar that it was really, really lacking. So yeah, I really dig them. They really sound good. I don't notice any output difference as far as the volume, but I certainly feel like there is now a mid push that wasn't there before. So I will say 2 thumbs up to the Paisley Brea pickups. They certainly live up to what the hype is to me. I'm a professional guitar player. I have been for over 30 years, and I've been blessed to have toured all over the world. This guitar was lacking a lot of different things when I got it. I had the benders put in, 7 different necks, finally found the right neck, worked it over, had it plecked, bone nut, the whole 9 yards. Changed out the wiring harness to an Emerson harness. It's copper shielded all inside. I've done everything that I could do to this guitar. The pickups were the last thing. And from what I can tell, hey, this is Phi Vandel coming at you from Northwest Missouri, and we'll see you next time.